Hi, you are on the Elevate Show, and we're getting closer to the end of the show, but no worries, we still got lots of amazing content to share with you. So stay with us. Moving on to our next session, we are now going to talk about how to build and develop better products faster. Development and product teams, this session is for you guys. During this session, you'll hear more about how to tailor any product development process around your product strategy. To talk about it, I'm excited to invite to the stage Snir Cohen, solution engineer here at monday.com. Snir, come join me, please.
Hey, Adin.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks
it's great
for having me.
you. Take a seat.
Thank you.
Snir, my first question to you is that I know that you're a ninja warrior, right?
Right, yeah, so in my free time I do some Ninja Warrior, indeed. It's a great sport, I really recommend it to everyone.
It's also nice, but the reason I'm really excited about it is because by mistake, we wrote this fun fact for all our speakers, and I keep asking and looking for the Ninja Warrior, and everybody keeps saying, no, I'm not the Ninja Warrior. So I'm glad I finally found it.
There I am.
So Snir, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about what you do here at monday.com.
Yeah, so I joined Monday about a year and a half ago. Before joining Monday, I was a software developer for about 4 years. So I really got to experience working with product teams, development teams, and everything in between. Mm-hmm. And right now, I'm a solution engineer. Mm-hmm. So that means I'm working with within the sales process, more from the technical side of it.
Software engineer to solution engineer. How does that work? What's the connection there?
Yeah, so before joining Monday, I was doing the day-to-day tasks of developing the actual tasks. And today I'm more helping prospects, customers to understand the value of using those products that we actually implement today in Monday.
You are going to talk about a new Monday product called Monday Dev.
Exactly, yeah. So this is a new product by Monday, developed on top of the Monday Work OS. And the real purpose of it is to streamline the process between product teams and development teams.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? What its key features and things of that sort?
Yeah, for sure. So right now, the key features that we have right now are dashboards and reporting. So we have agile reports like burn down charts and velocity charts. We have some dedicated sprint features that allow you to kick off, complete, and manage different sprints. We have a brand new GitHub integration that allows you to both pull information from GitHub back into Monday and also have visibility into what's going on the GitHub side. So developers and team leads can really streamline their process and really see what's going on the day-to-day work.
Let me just tell my viewers, we're going to see it all in action in a minute. Sure. We've got a demo booth here, and you're going to show us. But before we jump into that, just tell me a little bit, how did you end up working on a project like this?
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting story, to be honest. So when I first joined Monday, I heard about this product that was just in starting phases. So I'm actually coming here wearing two hats, right? So I'm coming with my software development skills that help me really get the day-to-day work and understand the pains and needs from our different customers. And on the other side is that I'm coming in from the sales team right now. So I'm joining and helping customers and prospects to really build robust workflows. So we're getting feedback from them, feature requests from them. So when I heard about the product that the cluster is doing today, I was really excited to start working with them and to help and bring some of my knowledge and experience to that as well.
And you mentioned pains and needs, challenges. What are the challenges of PMs and R&Ds out there that you can elaborate on? What are they feeling?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So obviously there's a lot of different issues. It depends on where you look at it from. But essentially, I think if it boils down to various key pains, I would say that what I hear the most is product managers and R&D team leads are lacking visibility into the progress of the epics, their tasks, their sprints, and so on. And also we see a lot of demand from different types of key stakeholders in the process, in the organization, like sales teams and customer success teams that need the visibility into what's in the works so they can communicate it back to their customers or internally to leadership.
So visibility, can we say agility maybe, the improving the work? How do you guys solve this with Monday Dev?
Yeah, so I think what we really try to focus in this product is connecting between the product teams and the software development teams. This includes also designers. So we really connect between the epics, the tasks, and the user stories, right? So, and all these are aggregated into real-time dashboards that allow any key stakeholder anywhere in the hierarchy to have quick visibility into what's going on. This allows sales teams like myself, for example, to come in and say, hey, I see that this feature is about to be released. I don't need to chase down the product manager or the R&D team lead to understand when this is going to be released and if we are on track.
What about here at monday.com? Do we use Monday Dev internally?
Yeah, that's a great point. So we actually use Monday Dev across the board. So all the software development teams, together with the product teams and the designers, actually work and use the Monday Dev product. So we implemented it across the board, and actually we got some really cool insights from the teams themselves because we're developing the same product that we're using. So we got great feedback from internal users that really helped us improve the product even before it was released.
I love it. So it's feedback and it's like working really quick so we can do something, fail, see if it works, correct it as we go.
Exactly, and this is agile, right?
Yeah.
This is how we perform.
This is what it is. You mentioned software developers and designers. Does it fit any team? Can anyone work with Monday Dev?
So yeah, we actually developed a few flavors for the product. So it doesn't matter if you're a 5-people team or 50-people team, the product can fit anyone's needs because it is structured that way that you can really easily customize and tailor the workflow of each different team depending on the way that they prefer to work, and still be able to aggregate all that information into dashboards, into roadmap visibility and widgets. And I think it's a really cool thing to see how different teams use the same product and tweak it to their needs.
I see. Okay, so as promised, we have a demo booth right over here. So enough talk, let's see it in action. Somersault all the way to the demo booth and show us what it looks like.
All right. Thank you, Yadin. All right, so let's talk about the dev product. We can kick things off with the highest level, right? So this is where we have our leadership goals. Underneath this, we'll have the product section. This is for the product managers to play around. And then we have the R&D section. This is where each team is going to be managing their own day-to-day tasks, user stories, and so on. So let's kick it from the top. Over here, we have the quarterly goals. This is something that is coming from leadership. We can then decide on a quarterly basis, what do we want to achieve? So it can be increasing conversion, it can be creating happier customers, and so on. We can then decide, where do we stand today? Where do we want to get? And at the end of the queue, we can then fill out some information over here and see what was our attainment. So we can see if we hit our goal or not. As you can see right here, we can have connection to multiple epics that can support our different goals. So these are not the only way that we can see those goals and supporting epics, but we can actually click into one of those goals and see the connected epics that are supporting us. So we can have a bunch of information that is going to be included directly over here. We can have some of the information that we want to look into. If we want to change anything or have visibility into it further, we can click into it and have some more information. And this applies actually to any level in the hierarchy. So we can connect goals to epics, and then epics to user stories to tasks that are going to be managed in sprints, and so on. If we're going to jump quickly to the roadmap board, this is where our product managers are managing the day-to-day epics on the roadmap of the product. So this board is structured a bit differently, right? We're capturing the different queues, and inside of each queue, we're capturing who's the product manager for this epic, who is the supporting owner from the R&D team. So the product manager doesn't have to go and search for the person to see who's in charge of a specific task. If we want to have visibility into bottlenecks and identify what we want to improve, all we have to do is click into one of those tasks that are connected and see exactly who's the owner, when is the due date for this task, and so on. Right next to it, we have the production ETA. This is something that we're pulling again from a completely different board so product managers can have visibility into the progress. We can add PRDs or templates on top of this within the context of a specific epic. Right next to it, we have a few ways to prioritize our different epics and roadmap, right? So we can have something that is a bit more vanilla, just like capturing the priority of a specific epic. It can be a critical one, high, low, and so on. But then we can also implement a different methodology. For example, over here, I've implemented a RICE methodology that using ratings, we can calculate a score of a specific epic. So product managers have an easier way of prioritizing features. Right here, we're capturing the timeline. And then right here, we can see the connected goal that we saw just a second ago. And we can also have a connection to the user stories that are supporting this epic. And as we mentioned during our conversation, we can see whether this task or epic or feature were required through a feature request. So this column over here tells us if this epic is coming from a feature request that can come from an external customer or being raised internally within the team. We're going to see that as well in a second. Okay, so we have our different epics on top of the roadmap itself. But this is obviously not the only way that we can see and visualize this roadmap. In order to visualize the roadmap a bit differently, we've created the Gantt view. So clicking into this allows the product manager to have visibility into the progress of each epic on a timeline view. They can click into one of those epics and see exactly who's the owner, what's the effort that is included in this epic, and so on. Everything over here is completely responsive and dynamic, right? So we can see dependencies, and if I'm going to change anything, it's going to reflect anyone above or below in the hierarchy. Going back to our roadmap, we can then create a connection to different user stories, or if your team prefers, connect it directly to the tasks that are being managed on the sprints themselves. So clicking into one of those epics opens up the item card. And over here, I can see again the linked user stories, which come from a completely different board. This allows the product manager to have visibility into the progress of user stories or tasks. Really depends on how the team prefers to work. This can be used for queue planning or sprint planning. If you prefer to create those tasks over here, you can definitely do so. Or if you want to sit with the team lead of the R&D team and create those user stories on top of the board itself, you can also do that directly over here. So as you can see, we have a few different teams of R&D developers, and that means that you can manage different teams using different methodologies, but still be able to aggregate all that information into one place in the dashboards, which we're going to see in a second. So over here, we have the different sprints. We can see the timeline or the time frame for a specific sprint. If it's active or completed, we can complete it directly over here or create new sprints directly from this board again. So we can capture the sprint name, the time frame for this sprint, and also a few goals that we would like to achieve. During this sprint, we can then decide what's the estimated effort. It doesn't have to be story points. It can be hours or any type of effort that you would like to measure. When that task is completed, we can then assign the actual effort for that task. Other things that we capture over here are the different types of tasks. So we have development tasks, analyst tasks, marketing, product tasks, and so on. So let's talk about software development. Let's say I'm a software developer. I want to be able to see the dev tasks only. So I'm going to be able to come in here and say I want to see only the tasks where the role is dev. Right now, I'm seeing only development tasks. This allows me to come in and be able to see what's going on in my task and also see what's going on GitHub, for example. So once I create a connection to GitHub, I'm able to do a few things. First of all, if I open up this card over here, I'm able to see all the information regarding this task. This can be description. I can also embed any design links like Figma, InVision, Sketch, and so on. And then down below here, we have our exciting Git UI feature that I really love. This allows me to have visibility into what's going on GitHub itself. So I'm able to see what repository am I pushing code to. I can have visibility into what repo I'm working on. Also, who is reviewing my code. I'm able to see any branch that is attached and connected to my current task, and also any pull request that I've connected to it. I can obviously go directly into the pull request itself. And on top of this, we have an amazing integration with GitHub that allows us to automate things. So that means that if I go really quickly up over here, we can see that I've already added an integration for GitHub. My recipe says that when my pull request in a specific repo is merged into the master, I'm able to change the status on the Monday side. And this really allows us as developers to streamline the process. That means that even if I forget to change things on the Monday platform, the integration will do that for me. So that means that once the code is merged, the status is going to be changed automatically to be done, and then everything upward is going to be updated. That means that product managers are now able to see that we're one step closer to completing the epic and the task. Okay, so not all teams are working the same way, right? So some teams are working Scrum using sprints, and some of them are prefer to use Kanban. So in order to do that, we have a Kanban view dedicated just for that. If I'm going to quickly go into it, we can see that we can very easily configure what types of fields we want to display in each card. We can use the status columns to see the different statuses and stages of a specific task and progress. And then obviously anything is completely dynamic, so dragging and dropping is very easily done over here. So as R&D team leads, we would like to have visibility into what's going on in a specific sprint, but also over time. In order to do that, we've implemented a few dashboards that include agile reporting as well as sprint reporting. If I quickly go into the daily stand-up one, we can see that we have a battery widget that shows us exactly how close are we to complete the specific sprint. Right below it, we can have an indication on how many story points or any type of effort that we want to measure have we completed already throughout the sprint. We can see how many unplanned epics or tasks we have in this sprint. And also, what's the total number of story points that we have planned for this one. If we would like to see all the uncompleted tasks so far, we can display them directly within this dashboard. So during the daily stand-up, it's very easy to see who's in charge of a specific task, identify bottlenecks, and then update statuses as well. If you would like to have a view of an ongoing basis on the progress of sprints, team capacity, and velocity, we have Sprint Dashboard over here. We've added a few widgets to show us the total number of story points that we have for this specific sprint. Right next to it, we have the capacity widget that we're using to show for our different software developers if they are overworked. We can see what's the estimated effort for this specific sprint for them and what's the actual effort that they've already completed. Right below, we have the ongoing tracking of effort. So we can see by the sprints if we have planned and estimated correctly, or if we need to make any tweaks and adjustment in the future. So all the history is displayed over here and allowing us to improve our velocity and capacity for each team member and as a team as a whole. Other widgets that we have over here are breakdown by priority, for example. So we can see if we're really tackling the critical missions first or the most important one first. And we also can see what type of features or what type of tasks are we handling on a sprint by sprint basis. And again, we have visibility into any uncompleted task. It can be a development task, but not necessarily. Obviously, we're working with product developers, designers, analysts, and so on. So I think this covers most of what I wanted to talk about today. One last thing though, before I forget, I do have one last task that I want to complete. We have the Elevate show with the amazing Yadin. So I think that for me, I can change this task to be done. Thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.